Hey guys, this is Blake with the Three Hand Hunter channel. Thanks for joining me today. Ni hao ma. Oh, how are you? Oh, I hope you guys are doing great. You know, I'm pretty excited to show you this very unique timepiece. This is the Watchuseek F72 dual crown project watch from 2012. I'm filming this in 2022, so this is 10 years old. They were delivered in 2013, and there's only 155 in existence of these watches. These watches were on order from the Watchuseek forum. That's one of the largest online forums that I'm a member of. The forum members got to put down a deposit. They didn't even know what the watch was going to look like. They then put all these different features and applied all these the different design cues to the watch and built the watch, and then they delivered it in 2013. So this watch is 10 years old, and it still stands up against the test of time because it is a beautiful, beautiful timepiece, isn't it? And like I said, there's only 155 of these in the world available. So I read a little bit about these on the forums. There was a surplus of these Chinese ST 2130 movements out there, and they were going to, it's a high beat Chinese movement, which, by the way, it's regulated in 2 positions, and this specific example runs very accurate, maybe within 1 or 2 seconds a day. It's a high beat movement, so you can see how the sweeping of the second hand is just so nice and smooth. It really, really is. Okay, I want to talk about some of the details of this watch because it's so unique, and I'm sure most of you have never seen these watches, and if you have, they're just very hard to find out in the wild. I was searching for a Chinese Seagull 1963 watch, and that's how I stumbled across this watch. I am half Chinese. I was born in Taiwan during the Vietnam War. My father was in the armed services, and so I have Chinese heritage myself. And so I was looking around for a Chinese watch, and I stumbled, like I said, across these, and I found them very unique, and I wanted to try it out. And I started hunting for them, and it took me a little while to actually find one of these available, because you probably see them up for sale maybe once every year or 2 or maybe 3, not very often. So when they come up, you gotta snag them when you can find them if you're out there hunting for one. So let's talk a little bit about the details of this watch before I tell you about some of the really nitty-gritty details inside of the watch. So the watch is a 42 millimeter case diameter. So it's a really good size. It does wear a little big because look at the size of the dial and the internal rotating bezel. There's a lot of surface. So with a lot of these dual crown watches, they're going to wear a little bit bigger anyway. So 42 millimeter, it wears like a 42 millimeter. We've got 22 millimeter lug widths, 12 millimeters thick. So it's really thin. It fits really well on a NATO, by the way, just FYI. But you don't want to use it with a NATO because of this beautiful Chinese ST 2130 high beat movement. I mean, look at how pretty that movement is and how well it's finished. I mean, it's a really beautiful movement. But you're probably all wondering what the lug to lug distance is. It's a little bigger than normal. It's like 50. Yeah, it's right at 50. So it wears well on my wrist. I have a 7 1/4 inch wrist, so it wears perfectly. I think you could get away with it with maybe about a 6 1/2 inch wrist, and then obviously bigger than 7 1/4. You can go up to an 8 inch wrist, and this is going to look perfectly fine. But it does have 22 millimeter lug widths. I have it on a FKM strap. That's just how I choose to wear the watch. But it does come with this hammer style bracelet, which I'll talk about here in a minute, and I'll actually put it on for you so you can see it with the bracelet. The watch itself, it's only a 50 meter water resistance. There is no screw down crown, and this is the lower crown is how you adjust the time There is a ghost date position, but you know, it doesn't have a screw down crown. And you know, if I talk about watches like this and, you know, from 10 years ago, probably one of the best things that has happened over the last 10 years, I would say, is a majority of watch manufacturers, independent brands, micro brands, big brands, they tend to try to put in on some of these sport watches screw down crowns, which give it a better water resistance. I personally wouldn't take this watch underwater as a result because there's no screw down crown. But the details of this watch are absolutely phenomenal. We have a sapphire domed crystal. It's beautiful, but look at the dial. And I'm taking some macro shots, and I'll do one right here of how pretty the dial is, so you guys can kind of see that wave pattern on the dial and the applied indices. Look at how beautiful the dial is on this watch. It is something to behold. It's one of those dials that, you know, I showed this off on Instagram and people are like, wow, that dial. Yeah, the dial is beautiful. And you can barely see the wave patterns normally, but if the sunlight hits it correctly, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And the applied indices, very much Eterna Kontiki look. The sword hands have, you know, great legibility. I mean, one of the things I love most about black dial dive watches is having great legibility. You know, you take sword style hands or maybe a white handset against a black, you know, black dial. It's beautiful. And you can see this watch is gorgeous. Okay. Now, the movement itself is the ST2130. As I mentioned, it's a Chinese high beat movement, and this one's regulated in 2 different positions. It runs super accurate. It runs like within a couple of seconds a day. It's pretty awesome. It's got a 40-hour power reserve, and it's got a shock absorber in it, a Novo Diac shock absorber. It's a really well-made watch. So it was a great collaboration piece 10 years ago. But you know what makes it really unique? The dial. It's got the Watchuseek logo. For those of you that are Watchuseek members, you can see the Watchuseek logo right up there at 12 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, do you know what that says? On the dial? It says Made in China, which is pretty cool, right? So you got your rotating bezel, like you guys have probably handled a lot of, well, some of you probably handled internal bezels. This one's, you know, it's okay. You can, it shifts around a little bit. It's not perfect, but I mean, I've had so many Seiko Alpinists over the years with internal bezels. You guys know that, you know, sometimes they just don't line up, and you can see this one, you know, is not too bad. It really isn't. Now the back. Let's talk a little bit about the beautiful case back. Now, these watches originally came with another rotor, which when I got this watch, it didn't have that extra rotor, but it's got the beautiful blue engraved or stamped Watchuseek rotor, which is awesome. The perlage work is beautiful. But if you look at all the writing on the back of the case, you can see it's a seagull movement. And I got a translation for what the rest of the watch says, aside from the number, which is number 127 of 155. It says, Water Dragon Year 2012. And it also says, Double Watch Crown. Now, when you translate, you know, you go, why doesn't it say, you know, dual crown watch or double crown watch? Why does it say double watch crown? You know, translations, whenever you're translating from English to another language, you do get a lost in translation there. But it does say double watch crown, and it says Water Dragon Year 2012, which I'm assuming 2012 is the year of the dragon, and water because it's a sport dive watch. But Anyway, guys, I really wanted to show this to you. I wanted to, oh, let me put on the bracelet for you. I wanted to show you what it looks like with the bracelet. And I really wanted to show you this beautiful piece so you can see it. And you know, perhaps this might be something that you want to add into your collection. You can see there's a little bit of a, you know, imprint right there that was from the previous owner. But the case, the case finished really nice, machined nice. No polished surfaces here, all brushed steel. The crowns are a little smaller than, you know, I think most of the dual crown watches that I'm seeing nowadays have much bigger crowns and screw down. Again, this is not a screw down crown, but still doesn't mean it's not beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the hammer bracelet, which I think is actually a really nice bracelet. I'll show it to you in 1 second. Be right back. And here you go. And you can see with the bracelet on, it's really, really nice. This is a 22 millimeter lug width, as I explained to you before. Hammer style bracelet. It does not taper, but really one of the easiest bracelets to put back on and take off that I've had in a while. But the clasp itself is pretty normal, what you would expect from micro brands nowadays, even 10 years later. A decent enough milled clasp, press clasp, milled, you know, innards, if you will, the clasp itself. So I'm going to put it on my wrist. Currently today, I'm wearing a Persista PRS 18A automatic. Really great tool watch. I've been hunting for one of these for so long, I almost forgot what they look like because I've been hunting for it for so long. So I can't wait to show you guys a review of that Persista. But today is not about the Persista. Today is about the Watchuseek F72 Water Dragon Year 2012 watch. And what a beautiful watch. And you can see that dial and the applied indices, the very Eterna Kontiki Zodiac style applied indices. What a pretty, pretty watch. And you know, I'm so glad I got to show this to you today. And you know, if you've made it this far, let me introduce myself. My name is Blake. I'm a bit of a watchaholic, and if you made it this far, you probably are one too. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and if you guys have any comments and you have some more knowledge about the F72, please jump in the comment section. And if you're one of the original buyers of these, let us know what your experience was. I'd love to hear about it, and I'm sure the rest of the community would love to hear about it as well. So thanks for listening into the video. Zai Jen, we'll see you in the next one.